Fuck the fucking swine flu. I'm in a gang. It's called the Lemon Slushies, and our motto is "Stay off my lawn." Uh, you know the media. They like to hype up everything because they're running out of money, and they're trying to peddle some more fear. Be afraid of the terrorists. Be afraid of change. Be afraid of epidemic, pandemic viruses. Yes, the viruses are here and true, and it happens to be what I would call the NAFTA flu. These pigs on these farms are quarantined with no room to even turn around. They have babies that fall through the grates into the sludge pit at the bottom, urine, poop, needles, chemicals. It isn't a surprise in our little plantation called Mexico that you're going to have disease clusters in areas like this. And they do spread up to throughout the world, yes. But, if we were to monitor every flu, we'd find that every flu gets passed around the world. And people die that have weak immune systems. And, there are corporations that are meddling with these diseases and trying to splice them together synthetically. Maybe, there's going to be a time when, you know, somebody does leak something like this to kind of wipe out what capitalism wasn't good for. I don't think that's the case right now. And I'm not afraid. Everyone dies. Everyone. And there's always going to be people who don't die in a pandemic. It's always happened. I mean, unless this pandemic only hits women and stops women from having children, like in some kind of apocalyptic movie, there's nothing to worry about. Your biggest fear is right now should be, or your biggest worry, your biggest concern should be getting your money out of the bank and buying gold while it's gold and silver, and maybe a little platinum for when the economy picks back up. Is to buy gold and silver, because it doesn't gain interest necessarily, but it keeps rising. So that's like interest. Why would you want your money that you've been saving your whole life based on bets about how well we're going to do in the next 2 years in the hands of bankers who are in this, for kind of strip mining all the wealth out of our country and sending it to wherever they can, tax havens, the Caymans and UBS and China. The way to fix this economy would be to make sure that there's 5 priorities on human rights: housing, medical, education, let's see, housing, medical, education, food, and what else would you need? Protection. Um, never mind the 5 things. Just, there's some human rights, clean water and food, and medical, so you can stay alive and be a productive part of society. Housing, you need that to be able to even maintain a job. They're going to allow tents and teepees all over the United States, which they probably should, since there's so many of us and capitalism is dying. Transportation isn't one of those. what we've done is created this society where people need to travel long distances, you know, because the housing's so bubbled up that they need to live 100 miles from work and pay these high gas prices, which help bring down the economy. But there were spikes, manipulated spikes before this all fell, on purpose, with this naked short selling and some of the failures at AIG and this faux patriotism after 9/11, about, you know, let's get SUVs and let's just fatten ourselves up and let's not go through the depression that the recession that we need to because of the .com bubble that burst. We should have went through our recession and let the and cut, and kept credit hard to get, and maybe spent all that money that we were wasting helping rich people find loopholes on infrastructure, like trade schools, green economy, alternative energies, which I know there's bunches of them out there, and oil companies don't want to die because, I say give the oil CEOs all their money and tell them to get the fuck on out. Fuck them. We got to save this oil for some rainy day and shit, I mean, if people do get too big with this whole capitalism thing, they might want to take over and we won't be ready. So save that for a rainy day. I mean, this aimless driving and consumerism, like I'm a consumer. Fuck you. I'm not a consumer. I'm a human being and I have rights. The Congress and our entire government is completely corrupt. There's probably a handful of people that aren't and are just stuck in a system, like Dennis Kucinich and maybe to some degree Ron Paul. And I like Obama. I just, he kind of sold his soul for, political reasons so he could maintain his office. What is so great about keeping your office? Is it that fucking important? No. I mean, you're not some movie star that needs to keep your job. You need to fucking look out for the people, pull these soldiers out of these fucking wastelands, and spend the money that you would fucking shooting people on fucking revamping their economies with agriculture, because that's where it's at. Sustainable agriculture, not this Terminator seed genocide bullshit that Monsanto wants to do. I mean, yeah, we're going to take your seeds and we're going to change them so that they can't reproduce, and then we're going to charge you extra for the grain of your own people. It's time for these people to revolt. It's getting to that point for everyone. I mean, Americans will never do it because we're soft. We send our 20-year-olds to take care of our adults that don't want to go fight for their causes. There's nothing patriotic about attacking a country and scraping their resources. It's just thievery to keep this whole capitalistic, corrupt system going. And we're kind of like the world's police force, in cahoots with the UN. I mean, they're, everything is backwards and engineered for the elite. And the elite think that they're going to just continue to ride this gravy train. The gravy train is kind of coming to an end. I mean, they've created all these human beings and allowed these human beings to exist on the oil economy, and now we've got to come up with something new.